What gives? What gives, Schiaperelli? Why? Hello, my lovelies. Fashion Week is officially over, and by Fashion Week, I mean Couture Week of 2023 just finished. By the time that I put this video out, it would have been a week, and I have some reviews or opinions, whichever you choose. This year we had many amazing designers, and many came up with some great ones. Some were, well, they existed, and by some I mean one in specific, just one specifically, was not it. It was not giving. It just was not the vibe for me, at least. So let's delve into them. Before I do delve into them, I should mention that Couture Week is a twice a year event, and during this time, very exclusive designers that have been deemed as haute couture release their designs that are namely meant for really special events like red carpets. And those are the designs that they put out, and oftentimes they are painstakingly made and handcrafted, but they are still gorgeous nonetheless. Obviously, your average person will not be wearing them. It is namely meant for celebrities to wear for very fancy events. But nonetheless, we are still going to give our opinion on it because I like pretty things and I like commenting on pretty things. So I will get started on that. I am going to be listing out the different designers because I think I'm just going to categorize them into three main buckets, which is one, I like it, I love it. These are the designs that I truly did enjoy. We have then they existed. Like, they were designs. They had designs, but, they didn't really stand out to me. It probably wasn't what I wanted for a Couture Week vibe, but, like, it wasn't that bad. And then finally, we have it was not it and it was not giving, where basically the designer just, well, it's in the name. They were just not giving. It was not it. And that is my third and final category. So to get started, the ones that I liked or loved, and this will be in no specific order, is Rahul Mishra, Iris Van Herpen, Gaurav Gupta, Zuhair Murad, Vaishali, Georges Obeika, Wana Martin, Yuima Nakazato, Frank Sorbier, Elie Saab, Victor and Rolf, Jean-Paul Gaultier, Valentino, Fendi Couture, Mezo Sarakhabi, and Robert One. And quick side note for Robert One, I'm not going to particularly be delving into him later on in this video, but I really do want to mention the fact that I did love his very, murder gothic vibes, where basically I would probably describe it as American hotel, like the whole American Horror Story hotel vibe. That is what I would particularly go for in this. So now on to the ones that were okay. They existed, they were there. And in no specific order, it's Dior, Chanel, Maison Rabi Kairouz, Giambattista Valli, Alexis Mabille, Alice, and Imane Aisi. I should mention that I still loved all the tailoring and the sleek silhouettes that all of these designers had put out. It just didn't particularly stand out to me in any way, at least for a Couture Week situation, but I'm still going to give props to all the seamstresses and designers and tailors because that they did put in a lot of effort considering the fact that they had 6 months to make all their collections, and this does hold true for all of the designers regardless of whether I talk about them or whichever category I put them in. And finally, we have it was not it, it was not giving, which is only two designers because I did in fact enjoy quite a few of the designers this year. And for this specific not it category, it's Schiaperelli and Julie Lebrun. I will be delving into Schiaperelli later on in this video, so I'm not going to particularly give any notes on them just yet. But for Julie Lebrun, they didn't have a very large collection. I'm not going to comment on the size of the collection because it doesn't really matter all that much to me, but I will say that overall I found that the collection just kind of lacked and I'm going to use the very intellectual word, pizzazz, that you would need for Couture Week. It seemed a little too simple and kind of generic, at least in my eyes, for something that is known as Couture Week, where we have these one-of-a-kind designs and stuff like that. And frankly, the designs, the chances are we have already seen them before in just our regular everyday wear, so it just was not something that I was all particularly impressed with. So those are the three categories that I divided them in. Now, I'm not going to talk about all of the designers I liked solely because, as you've seen, the list is long. My patience is short, and frankly, my opinions are limited. So I'm going to stick to the ones that I enjoyed the most. And of course, the worst offender, I probably wouldn't say worst offender. I'd just say it was just not it. It was Schiaperelli. I'm probably going to talk about Schiaperelli after I fangirl a little bit on the designs that I liked the most. Number one in the list of designers that I have loved the most was Rahul Mishra, and that is enormously contributed to the fact that the embroidery in this year's collection was just chef's kiss. It was drop dead gorgeous. As someone who loves doing embroidery herself and who loves studying it and looking at the different techniques, I was in love. The entire concept of the cosmos and how he kind of just played it into the dresses itself, and not just in the way of like space and the cosmos, but in the way of just taking nature motifs and taking all kinds of things from nature and just putting it together was kind of amazing in my opinion. And frankly, if you saw one of the dresses, I think particularly it's the layered leaf dress. I'm going to put an image up just to give it a bit more context. I just loved how like the dress was made of these individually embroidered leaves, and then it's layered up on top of each other, and it just looks stunning when you like stand back and you can see it in all its glory. But then when you zoom in, and I think I spent a good hour zooming into this dress, but when you zoom in and you see all the teeny tiny elements that are within it, it is just, I don't know, it just does something for my brain. Like it is very satisfying to look at from an embroidery perspective, and I just loved it. I also really loved how Rahul Mishra was talking about supporting Indian artisans and trying to be a little more sustainable in the sense of supporting even more Indian artisans for creating this collection, considering that right now, at least that is what's been stated, that they have been working with, I believe, 1,000 Indian artisans, which, considering the state of Indian artisans and the amount of jobs that they get in India, I loved it so much. It was just really wonderful to see that he genuinely wanted to create a space for Indian embroiderers to actually show off their technique, and you can see it throughout the collection. And oh my god, like, I don't know, like, I'm very passionate about this, so I just really loved seeing that happen. I also love the fact that he did want to work towards a little more on the end of sustainability and building towards circular fashion models so that he can actually hire even more Indian artisans, which again does something for me as someone who is just very passionate about Indian artisans and Indian embroiderers just getting the recognition that they deserve and just getting a chance to show off their techniques, because as you can see in this entire collection, it's just, again, chef's kiss. I don't think there's anything else I can use to describe this. In his interview with, and this is in French, if I mess up the pronunciation, please don't kill me, Fédération de la Haute Couture et de la Mode, which is the very fancy organization that basically handles all the haute couture brands and has a say in all of this. They had asked him, what would you like us to know about the actual pieces this season? What are some of the techniques that you used? And his response was, this season we worked on multiple approaches to create embroidery, and within the embroidery we created multiple levels so that far away it looks like something else. As you get closer and closer, you keep discovering more layering of details in some of our 3D embroideries. We have also casted metal ornaments such as birds, ladybugs, jellyfish, and starfish. We did a lot of pattern making with different silhouettes, and every outfit can look like the cosmos, and that is how different techniques were used. And I truly believe that he couldn't have put it in anything better than that. If you have a look at the collection, that whole concept of the cosmos, he really did get obsessed with Neil deGrasse Tyson's show. And you can see that because he doesn't just delve into the cosmos as this whole space concept, but obviously as the cosmos as things within things within things. And you can see that in each and every single one of those dresses. Like I had mentioned, the leaf dress, where from afar it's one thing, but when you really zoom in, it's another thing altogether. Plus, the little ornaments that he mentioned are the cutest things ever. If you see it throughout the collection, you'll see these little ladybugs. And frankly, if I could have a mesh dress which just has the little ladybugs all over it, I will be the happiest person on earth. And okay, now that has given me a new idea for something I need to make. But overall, I just really loved this collection. Number one, for the embroidery. Number two, because the designs itself and the different designs and different motifs used within each dress is just so cool. And I loved how he kind of emulated the concept of the cosmos within each and every single one of those designs. And with that, I'm going to move on to the next one, because I think we have had our share of fangirling over Rahul Mishra. The next one in my list is Iris van Herpen. I have always loved her designs, and this year obviously is no exception for me. She is amazing, and she makes these dresses made out of literally every tech forward way possible, using 3D tools in every way, shape, and form. And obviously this year she did do that, and she is known for having these really fluidic, intricate designs, and obviously that did come through this year. But what really made them stand out was that she just dumped them in water this time, and she made the models model their designs underwater, and it just created the most beautiful visuals in the entire show, in my the entire fashion week, in my opinion, because just the way that these dresses floated and moved throughout the water, it just looked like it was meant to be there, that was where these designs were supposed to be. And I'm probably gonna have some images and videos from the shoot that was there, but oh my god, just look at them. Like, I'm looking at them here, you're gonna look at them up here, but you can see that each and every one of these women look ethereal, they somehow look powerful and delicate, and these designs are just they're just drop dead gorgeous in that sense. And if her designs weren't already fluidic, obviously dumping them in water just made them a part of the water at that point. And that is why I loved Iris van Herpen this year. Number 3 in my list is Elie Saab. Obviously, Elie Saab has always been known for having these kind of bedazzled gowns and these super, princessy looking vibes. And again, no exception this year. This time the dresses were based off of the Kingdom of Thailand, and they were definitely going towards the royal and regal aspect, and you can see that in this year's collection. Each and every single one of those designs, you can see the draping, the intricate metalwork embroidery, the different motifs used in it, and how they emulated Asian culture within it, especially with the koi fish motifs, the dragon motifs. There was lots of lotuses in between, and that was just really beautiful and delicate. And of course, what stood out the most was the men's designs. In fact, just seeing how well they kind of included drapery and the different silhouettes of Asian fashion, and along with that including just making it look so regal and royal that these models definitely could have just sat on a throne and you could have assumed that they were some form of royalty. And that was just one of the most beautiful things about this collection, and I just went nuts over it. And finally, for me, it is Gaurav Gupta. If you see his collection, he was quite obsessed with the concept of infinity, and you can see that in every single part of the collection, because every single piece looked like a weird sculpture. And not weird sculpture, it was a very gorgeous sculpture, and you couldn't tell where it started or ended, and he truly managed to pull through with the whole concept of infinity in each and every outfit. And of course, one of the most duney aspects about it was the color palette, which was, yes, very desert aesthetic, and I just really loved how he included the concept of infinity, how he made his dresses literally just walking sculptures, and it was just, I just loved it. And that is on me fangirling on 4 main designers. Obviously, all the other designers did an amazing job, but these 4 were just my top 4, but that does not hold true for everyone else. And now, it is time for the worst offender, it was not giving designer, Schiaperelli. Now, don't get me wrong, I do not hate Schiaperelli. Schiaperelli was in fact one of my favorite designers last year, because I just love how they use exaggerated silhouettes. I love how they use metalwork and different not so fashiony materials into their designs, like actual metal. They've used glass, they've used all kinds of mediums that you ideally would not see in a fashion collection. But this year, what was with the animal heads? Just I did in fact go back and read about it because I could not for the life of me fathom the point behind having animal heads in what was an otherwise pretty decent collection. And it Roseberry did mention the fact that it was about Dante's Inferno. In fact, I do have a quote here where, yes, he did in fact go for Dante's Inferno with the three animal heads of lion for pride, leopard for lust, wolf for avarice. And look, if you had to explain it, did the message really come through? And I have no words for why one would use three animal heads in their designs. It just did not make sense in the entire collection, and frankly just overshadowed their own collection, but it also just overshadowed every other designer, because when you open up social media, as one does, the first thing you see is the different animal heads walking, and the Irina Shayk and Kylie Jenner wearing the lion headdress. Now, I get that it was approved by PETA, but at the end of the day, what was the point of having it in this collection? To me, honestly, my first thought was that was probably a PR stunt. It was just a very obvious PR stunt, because obviously now Schiaperelli's name is all over the place. Maybe not for their exaggerated silhouettes or the way they have metalwork used in their dresses, but they were known for having Kylie Jenner and the animal head dress, or the Irina Shayk Kylie Jenner dress situation. Now, other than that, look, I get that PETA approved this, but to me, it just didn't seem like it did anything along the lines of any environmental statement or social statement, because just no. Considering how those animal heads, yes, of course, they were not real animal heads, thank whatever, but thankfully they were not animal heads, but they were made of foam and resin, by far some of the most polluting materials to be using, and hopefully they will not find their way into the trash. And it's just, it did not make sense, and at least in my opinion, it just seemed like clickbait. It just took away from all the wonderful designs, and at the end of the day, animal heads were used as a fashion statement in the past for the super rich and the people who could afford to buy fur and stuff like that. But personally, I feel that animal heads in general just have no place in fashion these days, considering the amount of extinctions that happen on a daily basis in this world and where we're at. I just don't see animal heads, and I can't believe the amount of times I have said that. Just, I don't see how it makes sense in their collection. It didn't make sense within their collection, and it just didn't make sense otherwise. And yeah, that's what I have on it, considering the fact that Schiaparelli did in fact have some amazing designs specifically made. Like, they had like these amazing gorgeous bustiers. They managed to emulate one of their perfume bottles with like as a dress, and in fact they used mother of pearl, an infamously difficult material to use. They used broken glass jewelry. They used these amazing materials to create their designs, but it was just overshadowed by the clickbait. What gives, Schiaparelli? Why? Do not say Dante's Inferno. Do not bring Dante into this. I do not think Dante has a place in this story. It's just was not it. It was not it, y'all. But that's on at least the animal heads. Another thing I noticed in Schiaparelli, and this may seem like a very niche and not many people will get this reference, but one of the specific designs, not that it wasn't great, it kind of was trypophobic-y, so it kind of freaked me out a bit, but it also did remind me of this one particular episode of Shake It Up. I think it is the runway episode where Zendaya's character wore her dress upside down, and you're about to see the clip, or at least the pictures of the dresses in question, and you will know what I mean. Tell me that wasn't the inspiration for this dress. Tell me it was not. I dare you. But yeah, as you can see, Schiaperelli, you confused me this year. You confizzled me. I'm confounded. I am not. I don't know. It truly the brand that I had hopes for, considering how much I loved their collection last year, just really kind of let me down. It really did. I'm kind of I it I was kind of pained. I was pained by the clickbait, and come on, Schiaperelli, you're better than the clickbait. But anyways, that is on my review slash fangirling slash rant on different fashion brands from Couture Week. Overall, this year we did have some amazing collections. We had some great ones, we had some not so great ones, we had some they just existed ones, and Schiaperelli, yes, you did in fact overshadow your own collection and everyone else's with it, but you know what? It's fine. I got to look at them. I still went back and I checked it out myself, and I pretty much liked, I think I liked 70%, not 70, I definitely think it's like 85% of the designs this year. And yeah, I've this was just done out of my sheer love for fashion and everything else. And if you have reached this far, thank you so much for sticking through the whole thing. But anyways, if you have stuck around this long, thank you so much for sticking around. Do all of the YouTubey things and subscribe and all that jazz, and I will see you next week with another video.